Good morning, Dan and Amy. Well, Judicial Watch has really served as the shadow attorney general for much of the certainly the second term of Barack Obama, whether it was the illegal targeting of people based on their political or religious beliefs by the IRS, to Hillary's illegal mishandling of classified information, a range of issues that Judicial Watch has litigated on behalf of the American public, frankly, submitted FOIA requests to obtain documents that should be publicly available in full public view for consideration. And they're at it again, announcing this week that it filed, Judicial Watch did, a Freedom of Information Act against the U.S. Department of Justice seeking access to FBI reports of interviews of one President Barack Obama, one President Obama shaman, Valerie Jarrett, one tiny dancer, the interviews that were taken as part of the FBI's criminal investigation of former Illinois Rod Blagojevich, who is rotting away in Littleton, Colorado. They want the interviews the FBI conducted of those three principals. And remember, part of the discussion at the time was, in Blago's plea to release all the tapes.
Oh, yeah.
The
He
U.S.
said that
Attorney's
over and
Office,
over again. Release all the tapes.
because maybe we would hear voices that have become very familiar, like Rahm Emanuel. Maybe we would hear them engaged in dubious, if not illicit, conduct and contact over things like brokering a deal for the U.S. Senate seat. What could Judicial Watch be interested in? Well, for an answer to that question and others, we're pleased to be joined by Paul Orfanedes. He's the Director of Litigation for Judicial Watch. Paul, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Good morning.
So what was the impetus for this FOIA lawsuit at this time?
Well, we've been trying to get access to these FBI 302s, their reports of investigation, since 2011, shortly after Blagojevich, his criminal trial, his second criminal trial. The Freedom of Information Act law has an exemption for ongoing investigation. So if an FBI investigation is still ongoing, then they don't release the 302s or other documents. Now, what it means to have an ongoing investigation, the law says that it can include also appeals. But what happened recently was Governor Blagojevich, he appealed his conviction to the Seventh Circuit, the Federal Circuit Court there in Chicago. He lost that largely. He then appealed to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court declined to consider that. The Seventh Circuit did reverse some of the charges, but it said that he needed to be resentenced. Now, it opined that the sentence that Blagojevich had received was fair, but it said the proper procedure would be to send it back down to the trial court. Well, the trial court has sentenced Governor Blagojevich to the same 168 months sentence that he originally received. That happened last August, approximately August. So, from our perspective, that investigation is now over. There's, he's been convicted, he's appealed, he's been resentenced. And there's really nothing further that would prevent the public from knowing what's in these FBI 302s. So we think the time was right to go ahead and file our lawsuit.
So the FBI interviewed Barack Obama 8 years ago about the selling of the Senate seat. What do you think? Are they trying to hide something, or what? It's conjecture on your part, but what do you think you discover in those?
Well, we really have no idea what's going to be in them. We don't want to speculate, but and I want to say it is standard procedure of the government to withhold these while a criminal investigation is pending. But we think the time for any investigation, the investigation is long since over, so it's time for the public to finally find out what's in these 302s. What President Obama told the FBI about Blagojevich's efforts to sell his Senate seat.
Why does it take? Why does it take a FOIA lawsuit? Why wouldn't Department of Justice just, per a FOIA request, turn over these interviews?
Well, you would think that in the normal course they would turn over interesting 302s like they did with the email investigation. They turned over the 302s to the various witnesses that were interviewed during the Hillary Clinton email investigation, but they haven't done that here. I don't know why they wouldn't do it. It's probably more standard that they not release them unless asked. But we asked, and we want to know what's in there.
Is our former White House advisor, our current mayor, Rahm Emanuel, is he on those tapes?
He should be, as well as Valerie Jarrett. Those are the three individuals that we asked about. So we're hoping to hear tapes. We're hoping to get the reports, any records, any other records about the interviews. Should be very, very interesting material when it comes out.
Let me understand scope here, because is this just the FBI's interviews, whether it's transcripts or audio, video, all of the above, just the FBI's interviews, or are you looking, because there was a lot of conjecture and speculation at the time of Blagojevich's trial about the FBI's recorded calls between Blagojevich and other principals, including Rahm Emanuel, if not others. So are you looking for all of that, or just the FBI's direct interaction with Obama, Emanuel, and Jarrett?
This particular request, this particular lawsuit, is only asking for the reports of investigation. So that would be, they're called FBI 302s, and they are summaries that the FBI prepares when they interview a witness. So this would not include recordings. There was
their surveillance. It wouldn't include their surveillance.
Right. It would not include surveillance.
All right. So how soon until you have an answer? Or what's the next step?
Well, the court has ordered the parties to sit down and come up with a schedule for either producing the records or a briefing or summary judgment motions. There's legal issues that have to be decided about whether or not the investigation is still ongoing. We think it's not. I don't know what the position the government's going to take on that, but that remains to be seen. We should be learning something more within a few weeks, I think.
All right. Well, we'll be watching this case with great interest, as we watch all of the work that Judicial Watch does with great interest. He is Paul Orfanedes. He is the Director of Litigation for Judicial Watch. Paul, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Have a good day.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.